Hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's session. So, today I want to talk to you about how you can use your existing home to buy a second one. Because, for one reason or another reason, you might want to say, okay, I'm looking to buy a house for the second time. Okay. But one thing that you must take note, if on all the three options that I'm going to be talking about here, you still need to do a reapplication on the new house, because maybe your finances have changed, or maybe the bank criteria to check affordability and your profile has changed. So this is why you need to do a reapplication. So you need to be prepared to do something like that. So let's get to it, shall we? How can you then use your current property to get your second property? The first option is to sell your current house. So if you sell your current house, you over the time that you were owning that property, so you would have built some equity on that property. So the equity is the difference between the value of that house and the amount that you owe on that house. So the equity can increase if you continually pay your installments, and also if the house actually grows in value. So that amount, which is that difference, you can then use it as a deposit to pay to your next house. Okay, so this is just one option of which you can use. I will make another video, a short video, to just illustrate what equity is. Okay, so another second one is you can use your current home to generate rental income. So in this case, potential rental income is not regarded by the bank when they do the application. So they will not consider that. That means that you will have to pay now two bonds. So you need to be sure that you can actually afford those two bonds, right? And another thing that you need to be really aware of is that uh, some of the expenses that you incur on the new bond, uh, on the current bond that you are using as a rental, the rental income, they are tax, they are subject to tax. Okay, so those expenses include municipal rates and levies, the property management fees, the repairs and maintenance, the premiums and building insurance, the life covers, the interest on the bond. So you need to keep at all times all the relevant documentation to prove this, right? Okay. And all the profits that are made on that property are subject to tax as well. So these are the things that you need to be aware if you are taking this option, all right? And the third thing is you can refinance your home, all right? So refinancing your home, it means, again, it's a going back to the issue of equity. So you are accessing the excess cash that you have on that bond in order to use as a deposit to the next house. So again, the reapplication will need to be done in this case. Okay, so there's some few things that you need to take into consideration when you actually want to apply for a new bond, right? Or for a second bond. So the first thing is, why do you actually want to buy a second house, right? So for example, you might want to buy a second house because maybe you want to use it as an investment in order to generate some rental income. So in this case, you need to make sure that that house attract current renters that are renting in that area. Or if you want to sell it in the near future, it's attractive to buyers. You can sell it with ease. So those are the things that you actually need to take into consideration. If you are buying a holiday home, for example, you need to be sure that, okay, it's close to amenities. There's the indoor and outdoor facilities. You can actually be a place you can enjoy because it's a holiday home and you want it to use it for that holiday season. Okay. And then if you are buying a retirement home, like for example, you just want to downgrade maybe because the house sorry, maybe the house that you are staying in now is too big to maintain. You just want to scale down a bit. In that case, you need to be sure that the new house you're buying can accommodate an elderly person. Like, for example, you cannot buy a house that has all the bedrooms on the first floor when there's not even a lift for an elderly person. Like, that will be just a disaster. So these are the things that you need to be aware of. Okay. The second thing is, will you be able to afford? Remember, we spoke about two bonds. If you are using it for rental in to generate rental income, for instance, because potential income, rental income is not regarded or taken into consideration when they actually do the your profile check. So it means that now you need to check your affordability, that you can actually be able to afford the two bonds, right? And the third thing is, you need to also check if there's the actual additional cost, right, that you will have to incur due to the purchase of the second property. So you need to be aware that there's bond registration cost, there's transfer cost. You need to be able to pay that upfront before the registration, okay? And the other thing is maybe there's some renovation costs that you need to do on that property. There's monthly maintenance, raised taxes and electricity, the water, insurance, and the levies, and also securities. So you need to be prepared of such cost when you want to buy a second property. The other thing is, what are the tax implications that you're gonna go through in cases you buy a second house? So for example, any profit that you made on rental income, it is subject to tax. So that's the things that you need to be aware of, right? And then when you sell the house, right, the proceeds of the sale is subject to a capital gain tax. I will also make another video to explain what capital gain tax is, but you also need to be aware. In this case, you need to involve or consult a qualified accountant to explain to you how does this work. So other things that you should know on the property that you should take into consideration is, you should check for things like structural damage on the property, because you don't want a property that is a structural damage. Or if you want it in that way and you are aware of it and you want to buy it still, okay, then that's okay. But if you are not aware of that, you need to be sure that you are buying a property that does not have a structural damage, because that's going to cost you in a short term or in a long term for that matter. You need to also check lateral damp. You need to check for poor finishes that needs replacing. You need to make sure that when you buy that house, you get all the compliance certificates, like the gas compliance certificates, electrical, plumbing, all those kind of stuff. You need to be sure that they are in order. All right. And other things is, you need to check property investment tips that you need to understand for that property. Like, for example, you need to consult a qualified real estate agent to tell you what is the potential growth of that property in terms of value and rental rates, so that you can understand, okay, you're not gonna have a high turnover, or maybe you have a lot of times that your property is not occupied. So you need to understand those dynamics in order to make a good decision. Okay, we've come to the close of this week's session. So thank you guys for keeping on supporting me, for watching these videos, for liking and for sharing it with your friends. I will see you on the next one. Cheers.